Hello and welcome to Sport Vibes on DNTWOK. Of course, this is that channel where you get the latest sports updates across the world, while we also focus on learning life lessons from this entertaining world of sports. My name is Bolaji Alimi, the sport pilot, and I have the privilege of being your host yet again. So stay tuned and get set for this yet another enjoyable ride. Thank you for staying with us on Sport Vibes. This is DNTWOK yet again. And so this week, let's dive right in. On this episode, we'll be talking about something similar to what we've been talking about lately. Not in terms of the story and the life lessons we are learning, but in terms of the realm, the field from which we are picking these stories from. Of course, it's no longer news that the football season is up and running, especially the European club football season. The Champions League and some of other competitions are yet to kickstart, but the leagues are in full motion right now. So the Premier League season is on, the Serie A season is on, La Liga in Spain. We're talking about Italian Serie A now. The top 5 major leagues in Europe is on, and while it's still very early to call shots, you can see signs from teams that are looking to maybe go up a level higher or just make a major statement this time around. You can already see teams showing their potential and some teams showing signs of maybe a little discouragement to their fans. But our focus will be on the English Premier League yet again. The week before, we talked about Tottenham Hotspur and the exploit. Last week we talked about Leeds United, and we also mentioned a thing or two about Chelsea. But this time around we'll be talking about Arsenal. We'll be talking about Arsenal, quite a number of things to be said about them. But we will be focusing on them because this is the team leading the Premier League right now, but that is not even the reason. We're focusing on them because quite a lot has been said about this team. Of course, as I said earlier, it's too early to start making predictions about who is going to win the league or who is going to finish somewhere. Of course, you can know by sensing or by predicting using the available variables, the kind of transfer window they've had, the kind of players they've signed, how the team is gelling together as a cohesive unit so far. All these are signs you can see, and for Arsenal, definitely the early signs are encouraging. The kind of team they've had, maybe the kind of questions some might have posed to them earlier in the season, in the first 3 games before the last one played in the last match day over the weekend, would have been that this team has not really faced a form of mental challenge in terms of maybe going a goal behind and having to come back from a goal down to recover and then win the match. Because if there is a question that has hanged around this club in the past, it's still about the fact that they seem to fall like a pack of cards when it matters most, when the mental toughness, when that mental grit is demanded. When grit is demanded, sometimes they've been tagged soft touches. They don't have that kind of grit. They can play beautiful football, do a lot of passes, and entertain the fans, but when it comes to grinding out results, they may be found wanting. But this time around, they're definitely showing that they can do a bit more than that under the tutelage of coach Mikel Arteta. And so we'll be talking about Arsenal this week. I've said quite a lot about them already, but that's just the foundation. Quite a lot of accolades, quite a lot of applause to them so far. The kind of football they've played, their captain Martin Odegaard stepping up to boost the team at times when it seems the teammates are not, their heads are falling down seemingly in the game. And quite a number of positives. It seems like the coach cannot make a wrong decision right now. Everything seems to be clicking for this club. The one against Leicester at home. Now this is the second home win of the season. That is 2 out of 2 at home. And if you think winning at home for a big club is predictable, talk about their away form too. They won at Bournemouth, and the first game of the season they went to Crystal Palace and won. So this is a team that is proving doubts as wrong, while also doing some important things early in the season, because this is that time of the season you can really maximize the opportunities you have. Their fixtures, quite honestly and quite frankly, have been friendly so far, but hey, this is the Premier League. There are no friendly fixtures really. You can go to Fulham or you can play against Fulham and lose. You can lose to any team from Manchester City to Bournemouth. So you cannot downplay what they've done by the kind of fixtures they've had. Come on, we've seen Manchester United lose to Brighton, lose 4-0 rather to Brentford, and so you'd be dreaming if you think the Premier League is a place where you'd just count some fixtures as also runs, or some teams as also runs where you just get your points without being given a run for your money. So, what exactly is the point you are trying to pick out from Arsenal as a football club? What is the lesson we're trying to learn from them? It's still about the word patience, 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 patience. This is a word, a virtue we can never overemphasize in life. You talk about our life endeavors, time and again will be demanded by God to wait patiently on Him for expectations, for many things we're expecting, promises, a lot of things that we expect at our own time, but God's timing is different from ours, and as His children, as people that love God, we must also learn to wait for things many times. How does this relate to Arsenal? Don't forget, this is a team that has been building under Mikel Arteta. They've had quite a number of coaches since Coach Arsene Wenger, the long-term manager, left, and there's been a lot of struggles, not being in the Champions League for a long while. A lot of backward movements, if you would say that, for this club since the departure of Arsene, or even before the departure of Arsene Wenger, because one thing led to Arsene Wenger's departure, and that is definitely the fact that they could not qualify for the Champions League as he used to consistently, and a lot of things were not just going all right. But we're not talking about Coach Arsene Wenger now. We're not talking about Unai Emery or Lombard, the legend that took over briefly after the departure of Emery. We're focusing on Arsenal under Coach Mikel Arteta. Of course, also a former player. When he came in at first, it seems all balloons and birthday cakes. Of course, in the league they struggled a bit, but he came in during the COVID-19 season. You're talking about the season where the lockdown began, and then there were a lot of things he had to just adjust at some point. So quite a number of losses that were not unexpected in the league, and maybe expected to a certain level for a new manager at a big club like Arsenal. But they won the FA Cup, defeating their rivals in the final, defeating Chelsea 2-1. But they won the FA Cup that same season, and so it was recorded as a success for Coach Mikel Arteta. But the following season was not like that. They finished 8th outside any European place at all, which is quite a low level for a club of Arsenal's caliber. And so a lot of criticisms came in. Maybe the coach should get the sack already. This is not the kind of stature, the kind of standing that befits the club, a club like Arsenal. And then came last season, because this would be his 4th season, and then his 3rd full season as a manager at Arsenal. He came in towards the end of the 2019-2020 season. He was able to win the FA Cup that same season. They did not qualify for the Champions League, but they were able to qualify for the Europa League. And then the following season, they finished 8th. Nothing like Europe for them. Last season, they spent a lot of money in the summer. They were very, very big spenders among heavyweights in Europe, invested in quite a number of players. But eventually, they could not make the Champions League, despite the fact that they didn't have any other competition in Europe to play for, like other rivals. Talking about Tottenham, their rivals having to negotiate the European Conference League at some point, and then having several outstandings, but eventually Arsenal still fell short despite the amount of advantage they had during the course of the season, and so a lot of criticisms came for the coach Mikel Arteta yet again. But one thing was common in all these things, in all these challenges, up and downs, a lot of things we can't even mention for the brevity of time we have on the show. Through all these things, losing some players, Mesut Ozil had to leave, the captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang had to leave at some point because the coach felt he wasn't laying a good example as a captain. He left the club at some point, which the manager was not happy with. I will not give you the whole story now because of where we are going to, but a lot of things happened. There were a lot of shakings. Eventually, Alexander Lacazette, who was like the backup striker to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, also left during the summer. But this team have been able to assemble a very, very solid unit together. In spite of the major departures, some of the players that looked like the cog of the team leaving. Come on, when you lose a striker as prolific as Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who was very, very pivotal in that FA Cup run that very first year Arteta came, you'd have to pay for that. And many people feel and believe that not qualifying for top 4 last season was as a result of not having a prolific striker like Aubameyang up front. But regardless of all these, the club hierarchy stood with Arteta. They believed in him throughout all those seasons. And then now they are reaping the rewards. Of course, this is another disclaimer that it's too early to say they are going to win the league. It's not even as sure they are going to qualify for the Champions League yet, because still a lot of competitions to negotiate. The Europa League will come for them. They have to play on Thursdays and Sundays, have a lot of competition like the Carabao Cup and FA Cups to negotiate as well. But in all these things, you can still see the early signs, and these early signs truly, I dare say, they are encouraging for a lot of Arsenal fans. So what are we pointing at is the same word we mentioned earlier: patience. You see, in life, the things we expect don't seem to come the time we want them, especially the major ones, and this is an intentional thing by God. So God himself is a God of patience. Even the Bible says after we've done the whole will of God, we still have need of patience to obtain the promise. So that is my message to you. That is our message to you on DNTWOK this week. That yes, the vision will surely come to pass. It's for an appointed time. It may tarry, it may seem delayed. As long as you're in the will of God, just wait for it. It will surely come to pass. I can assure you of that by God's integrity. Have a wonderful time, and thank you so much once again for joining us on Sport Vibes on DNTWOK. My name is Bolaji Alimi, the Sport Pilot. It's been yet another wonderful privilege to be your host on Sport Vibes on DNTWOK. Bye for now. Thank you so much for watching Sport Vibes on DNTWOK. If you enjoyed the video, ensure you subscribe, like, and share the video. Thank you.